Hey, I know you love cats, and by extension, cat videos. Otherwise, you weren't going to click on the video anyway. So I'm not going to waste your time, but I want to begin with a short question. Could you remember that first monumental moment, like that first interaction with a cat that really made you fall in love with them in the first place? Well, the other day I was reflecting not necessarily on cats or love of cats, but just in life in general. And my mind went back to university days where I would have had, or what I would deem a memorable or let's say experience changing moment with a cat. And it was a stray cat. Well, you know how university life goes. You're broke, you're basically eating what you can afford to eat, honestly. And it mightn't be the most appealing, appetizing thing out there, but it's a meal eaten out. It's not as, let's say, easy to do because you're a full-time student, you're broke. Let's just put it like that, right? And beating around the bush here. You're broke. So sandwiches were basically like the go-to thing, right? And let's just say I kinda was going through a phase where I was sick of like chicken and beef. And I'm not really someone who eats like pork or shrimp. So I was investing a lot in tuna. Salmon was a bit too pricey for my budget, but tuna was there, and I was making tuna salad sandwiches. I know what you're thinking. Well, what's so special about that? It's just tuna and mayo and some spices, right? Hello. My sandwich was to die for. Not bragging and being humble, but hey, the sandwich was a killer. So hey, enough about me because we're talking about cats here, right? There were no cats on the actual campus. There couldn't be, with the way how security was so well structured and stuff. It's not that they were deemed threats, it's just it would be very hard for them to enter, and then like it was sort of prohibited from feeding stray animals on the campus itself. But on the resident dorms, the dormitory is a different game altogether. Less structure, it has security, but it's not as rigid. It's basically whatever we want goes type of mentality. So you would get stray dogs and stray cats, although they were in the minority because of how the dormitory was situated. It was literally all the way up a steep hill, right? So most students is either, unfortunately, some had to walk up the hill, or if it is you had your own car, you drove up, and well, whoever was your friend, obviously they would be in your car too. They would benefit from the ride. But there was one stray cat in particular. I remember Ginger. It was a ginger cat. Eyes hazel-like, glowing. The cat was so well groomed, if to put it like that. Clean, like beautiful, clean, no scratches, no damages, looks brand new, fresh out of the shop, right? And in terms of the cat distribution system, it was a he apparently. Yeah, it wasn't a tabby. He was rather reserved because it doesn't seem as though he was coming up there at the dormitory for food, because One or two other students tried feeding him. He never once budged on it. And it was different food. I think one tried, what did she try? She tried some vegetable nonsense. Look, I'm not knocking people who eat vegetables. I'm just saying, right? So he probably had the same idea, well, same reaction to it. And another one, what was it? It was like Thai food. Yeah, he didn't budge for any of those. Another one just had like chips, right? Still no response. I am seeing him and I'm thinking to myself, no, at this point in time, I wasn't necessarily what you would call a typical cat person then, right? Right about now, I don't have any cats, unfortunately, just because of, roommates, right? They won't really allow it. So obviously I'm hoping to improve my situation to get on my own and be able to get my own cats, right? And I did say plural, right? I said cats. At least 2, maybe 3, who knows? You know how the distribution system goes, right? But I was observing him, and that's just, I'm not bashing dogs. I will never bash dogs because I have seen their protective and loyalty firsthand, right? So I have seen their protectiveness. They have some type of value, they have function. I'm not going to bash dogs. But at the same time, they react to almost everything. Something flying in the dark, some bug, somebody playing music too loud, anything that they hear or whatever, they're barking, and they can wake you up, they can disturb your study, that type of thing, right? Again, love them, but at the same time, when it was an environment like at uni, and you needed to be late in the night trying to cram for an exam the next morning, or to rush down an assignment without trying to plagiarize because you want that grade and you know how thin it is and you need to focus, and the coffee ain't working and his barking is just annoying. Yeah, that's where but there was this cat was not bothering anyone. He would come and would almost be like if he was looking out, and he would be unbothered. Like I say, he wasn't even after food. So one day I'm walking past to do laundry, and he was close by, and I've seen how others kind of got the cold shoulder from him. So I approached him slowly, and some people were there. Some people say that they could swear that I was slow blinking at him like a couple of times at least. I would think it was probably just a couple of allergies because it was that time of the year and dust and blah blah blah, right, in the air. Regardless of what happened, maybe I was, maybe I wasn't. It wasn't intentional though. And he actually was the one to come closer towards me. Non-aggressive, very passive, and this way, and he kind of just rubbed his head on my leg, and that was the first interaction. So I didn't want to pet him because I've seen that when you startle them, in a sense, you try to get like too touchy too soon, they back off and maybe they can, scratch you because, self-defense, right? He doesn't know me. I only know him because I am been his silent stalker in the corner, right? He doesn't know me. So I was like, okay, cool. The next day, he's again visible and I'm passing by going to class. And I'm like, let me go back to my room, get a little kit, put some tuna in it, and just give it to him. I didn't want to give him the bread because I don't want to damage his digestive tract, right? The tuna. And the thing is, that tuna did have spices, some mayo, you name it, right? And I was like, let me just give him a little bit just to see how he reacts, right? I gave him, and my intention was literally just to go to class. Just give him, let him be, like, have some privacy with the kid and let him eat while I go, right? My guy literally starts eating on it as I lay it down. And this is insane because, like I said, I've seen multiple people try to feed him before and to no avail, right? So at that point, it looks like if he came in closer for me to pet him because he kind of had that head bow thing. And so I did. And it was at that moment, I cannot describe that feeling even up to this day. It was something that it's like, you just connect with the animal. You just connect. Like, we all have mind, body, soul. It was a case like if the soul just connected, just with a simple touch. I'm not exaggerating. I wasn't even for that long either, right? Because, like I said, I was kind of in a hurry. I still ended up reaching late to class, by the way, but it was all worth it, right? From that point on, it became a daily routine. And please tell me though in the comments if it is I'm boring you with my story, because I don't want to do that. I literally want to just share the impact that cats can have. And the funny thing about it is, at least compared to dogs, dogs are always labeled as the more loyal, loving, friendly ones. Social. The cats are more antisocial, to themselves, kind of stoosh, sort of standoffish, don't get in my face type of vibes. But would you believe, ever since my interactions with this cat, anybody who has told me, well, a cat attacked them or scratched them or hissed at them or was vicious towards them, my first question has always been, what did you do? And it's not condescending, it's not me attacking you personally. It's literally, I have learned mostly through the experience from him, which carried over towards other interactions, other deep interactions with cats as well, that they need that T word more than anything else, trust. And if they don't trust you, I mean, it's like human beings, right? If they don't trust you, they're going to lock away. They are not going to gravitate towards you. They want nothing to do with you. And they are independent because they are probably one of the rare species of animals that are both hunter and prey at the same time. They hunt all kinds of things, usually way smaller stuff and whatnot. And bigger animals prey on them, want to eat them and whatnot. So hence, they always seem to, kind of have the vibe where I'm looking over my shoulder type of thing. Well, the ones who are on the streets anyway, the house cats, they're living a life, right? So, fast forward now, as time is going by, this is becoming a routine. And the routine is such that it's almost as if... So my classes was starting at 9 in the morning, and my last class would finish at about 9:30. That class was actually meant to finish at 9:45. But yeah, 9:45 p.m. You heard that right. It was legit 12 hours of classes for 5 days a week. It was an insane schedule. But The cat, I don't know what he did at night. I really don't know. But it seems as though he would understand the routine. So he would literally pop up in the morning, and at night when I was coming back up, I would never see him. Would never hear him either. He would never be, screaming, purring, hissing, or anything like that. Right? Very quiet. Even when he was purring, it wasn't the typical, motor-like song. It was a gentle one. Soft, sweet, innocent type of thing. Fast forward a bit, and I wanted to just try something out a couple of mornings. In the sense, don't give him any food. Just try to see if it is he would want to play, like interact with, like with me. Like no toys or anything. It's just literally just one-on-one. And I did. And to my surprise, he was not upset. His mentality or behavior did not change whatsoever. Humans interact with humans, and sometimes there are persons who are just so loving and giving that they are the ones who give, and then there's just some people who just take and it's never really a two-way street, right? But here it is, he was content with just the pure interaction. So that means that he was there for me rather than the tuner, right? He was clearly there for me, and I continued that trend a few times, and each time he never disappointed. And a little bit of a fast forward again. So I was in a social sciences program which had mostly women in the program, very few males besides myself, right? My closest friend at the time was going through something really traumatic, and no amount of student counseling or talking to her peers or friends or myself, even parents, none of that was really working. And I think this is where the real source of this video is gonna be. So if it is you made it this far, trust me, this part is really going to melt your heart. I was concerned and I was worried, right? I was worried for her. Because her performance in class was dropping. Sometimes she wasn't even coming to class. When you called her, she would say, "Look, I'm still in bed. I'm still sleeping. We're not sleeping, but she's still in bed. She hasn't moved since, waking up," that type of thing. No shower, no eating, no anything. It was getting real bad, right? She had a roommate, but the roommate, I guess, well, as with most people, you just don't know how to, what do you say, right? There's only so much that you can do. So I had the idea of why not have her come and interact with the cat, because it's not like I've ever really used the cat in interactions as therapy, right? It never even crossed my mind in my personal interactions with him. It's just obviously with the uni lifestyle, everything that goes with it, it's stress, right? It's stressful. So whenever I interacted with him, I had that sense of calmness. So I was like, I want them to interact. And I know that he had this routine in the morning where he would come and look for me and whatnot. So I had to actually beg her, please come. She did. I was, I guess, the one who broke the ice, if you could say it like that. The interaction, had at the back of my mind, I did not know if it is he was going to just walk away from her or if he would interact with her, because like I say, he has shown the personality where he doesn't gravitate towards everyone. And when I introduced and whatnot, I told her, look, try to not reach out, like try not to step out of your lane too much. And she did that. He looked at her, he looked at me, and he was slowly approaching her, and he allowed her to pet him. They interacted, whatnot. She hugged him up, she played with him. It went well. And would you believe that really helped her a lot? It helped her so much that a lot of things that we go through mentally, when it's on the pad, it's something that you need to actually be willing and brave to face head on and tackle. And when the depression really hits strong, it's a feeling that is crippling, and honestly, you don't have the zeal or energy to be able to do what most would say the right thing or the clear thing. Then the clear thing would be, look, you obviously need to get out of your funk. You need to get up and get out of this, right? Easier said than done, right? It's not that as though it's a cure or anything. It's just the whole idea of the interaction. It was so peaceful, so never experienced before. It, again, words cannot explain what went on. And that I allowed her to interact with him for a few weeks, and slowly but surely she started to talk more about the issue in a positive way. She was more like, okay, I need to form an action plan as to how to tackle this, how to get rid of this problem, that type of thing. And that was huge progress, because this was someone who days would go by and like they won't speak to anyone, period. Families to talk about the actual issue that had them in that zone. And on the eve of just when she was really about to, like, how to put it? Like, she was obviously improving day by day, but just as she was reaching that point of, like, back to her usual self, guess what happened to the cat? He just disappeared. Now, that did not lead to any sadness or anything in her, right? But based on reflection, it was clear that, you know, as silly as this might sound, this cat was here for more or less a purpose. Now, again, nobody could have really adopted him at that point in their lives, because if it is you were living on the campus, you could not have a pet, right? It was as simple as that. As much as I might have wanted to adopt him, maybe she also at some point. The housing was not going to be there, so maybe that explains why he didn't really come looking for food, because he sort of understood, look, I'm here for a reason. And you know, it's almost as though he had logical thinking within him. When he disappeared, like I said, she was on the verge of making that real breakthrough. She did have it, and all was well. And this was actually in our year 2 at the university. 2 years later, at the graduation, we were still in awe of this experience from this cat. All the while, obviously, we would talk about him almost every day. Not in a sad way in the sense like reminiscing it to the point where we wish you would come back or nothing. It's like the impact, you know, like that was my first like actual, let's say like a connecting with a pet, a cat, and that was her first time, I guess, having pet therapy without it having a licensed therapist there. It was just literally herself and the cat, and yeah, warm, good vibes only. So my message to anyone would be this: pets on the whole are lovely creatures. We are a cat channel here. We love cats. I love cats. You love cats. These little furballs are here, and there's something special with them that must be cherished every time we get a chance to interact with them. And please, never ever take your cat, if you have one, or your cat interactions for granted, because I'm telling you, these guys are special.